Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Village Gathering. It's the Tarot Topics newsletter week. So Tarot Topics comes into your inbox every Wednesday if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, you can read it right on my website. And in the description, there are links to read the newsletter and to subscribe. We do a different topic every week. And then we come on here most Sunday mornings to talk about it. So, this week, the newsletter was inspired by a conversation at a dinner party. And it was not just any dinner party. It was a dinner party of metaphysical people. And we were talking about how everything, like even great communities, things that we really enjoy doing, everything seems to have a dark underbelly. And I was bemoaning this, and actually someone that you know was there, Frank Kwiatkowski, who you know from the StaarCon community and who has been a guest on this channel, was there. And he's such a great Jungian guy. And he said, well, yes, everything, because Carl Jung, the shadow is not just for the individual, it's for the collective. Everything has a shadow. And of course, there was someone there who was like, I don't like that. I don't want that to be. And I mean, that was sort of my reaction too. Like, can't there be just one good thing? And I think we have to recognize that even the best things have their shadows, and that doesn't make them less good. I think we just have to pick and choose which shadows we're willing to tolerate. And the other thing I would say is people who are afraid to put light on the shadow are always going to be problematic people. And if those are the people in your community not wanting to expose everything that's going on, that's not a good community, right? I think that's the thing. Transparency is always the key. All right. So we're going to do readings on this topic. You can ask for a card on the topic. You can talk about a community, a friend group, a nation, or you yourself. Let's shine some light on the shadows this morning. All right. Let's get on over to Card Cam. Okay. And so wherever you are, Julie Rinaldi, Taylor Swift, right. There's definitely shadows everywhere, right? In the Swiftie community, most certainly. And certainly, since no person is perfect, every person has a shadow, right? Whether they're a celebrity, an artist, or the person who bagged your groceries. Everybody. All right. Let's start over on Facebook. So good to see you, Kagri. I am in my own shadow journey for a while. My dreams got very interesting in the end. Trying to make peace with my shadow animus nowadays. I'd like to have a card for myself when you get a chance. Sure, I'm getting a chance right now. Okay, so looking at making peace with that shadow. And Suzanne, thanks for liking the stream. Let me know if you have a question as well. Okay, so Kagri. Trying to make peace with your shadow. You know, here's the thing. There's the shadow, and then there's the effects of past trauma. Now, can the effects of past trauma create a shadow? Absolutely, yes. But I feel like when we talk about the shadow journey, personally, when we talk about a personal shadow journey, it's like you can't really do that journey without being willing to see trauma and heal trauma. You know, so at the end of the day, what of the shadow is not formed by trauma is a really interesting question. And I think there is. I think there are things in us that are just innately in us. Maybe it's part of our astrological chart. Maybe it's just our personal likes and dislikes, and some of those things will be part of a shadow. But for you, Kagri, I feel like a lot of this journey is your own need to see what happened, to see your trauma and heal from that as well. So that's a thing. At Mixture, so many evil shadows being brought to light this week regarding Epstein. Well, I think it's interesting that people seem to have more concern about the possibility of two powerful men engaging with each other versus powerful men engaging with children. And that is the shadow that got brought up for me that really disturbed me. Oh my gosh. And you've got something going on in Ontario as well, Mixuer. The premier is trying to take control of public lands for him and his buddy to develop. That happened here in Florida too. So far we held it off, but yeah, that's a thing. All right. Mixuer, I agree 100%. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Let's go over let's go over to Instagram. I'm sorry, I just got caught up reading comments on Instagram. We're going to go to Instagram next. Kagri, let's look at your feedback. Interesting take, and it resonates with my journeys as well. Thanks a lot for your precious insight. Thanks for being here. Great to see you. All right, and thanks for the like. All right, over on Instagram, let's see. Julie Rinaldi, you would like some cards on this topic. So looking at your shadow journey, Julie, like there's a lot there because you've been through a lot and you've been in a lot of communities that have some really significant shadows. And I feel like a lot of your survival has just been accept and move on, accept and move on. And I think that can work for a while, but not forever. That there are times when there's got to be accept, explore, heal, and then move on. And so I feel like you've got a little bit of backlog there. And I'm also going to say this, Julie, I think you are much better at attending to the shadows of others than your own. And I could say that about myself as well. So, you're in company here. Okay. And Julie says, yes. Okay, Astro Ascension, good to see you. Right, you got to learn from the shadows. There it is. Okay, Shabanaz. Wants to know if people are lying to you about the case. And the answer is, I don't think people are intentionally lying to you. They may or may not be misinformed, but I don't think there's intentional lies there. Okay. And Rids, I see you over there too. Let me know if you have a question. Suspicious username. Sure. We're talking about the shadow today. Now we're going on over to Twitch, suspicious username. A reading for you about the shadow. And here's the thing, suspicious username. I don't know if this is your desire or your training, but there is a desire here. There is a desire here to see the pretty picture of things and to be part of the pretty picture, but not necessarily to dig into what's underneath it. So I would say for you, suspicious username, the directive is to be willing to pull back the veneer, to be willing to look deeply. And if you see some things you don't like, that would be normal and natural and okay, and doesn't necessarily make the picture any less beautiful. If it does, that's another story that needs to be paid attention to as well. But I think part of this is recognizing that the shadow must exist. And if the shadow is tolerable, then be aware of it and tolerate it. If it's not tolerable, that's when you have to make a change. All right. Okay. Anna Tassel-Kocher, good to see you over on Instagram. I always enjoy your newsletter. Thank you so much, Anna. Can you pull a few cards for me about my shadow? Certainly, certainly. So, like most of us, it's childhood stuff. It's family story stuff and how the family mythology doesn't necessarily match the family reality. And I think it's also about who you are in this picture. You know, that you may believe some of the crap they taught you to believe about yourself. Maybe don't. All right, Jojo G, I see you as well. I'll be coming back in just a moment. Hopping on over to YouTube. Jenna Perkins, so good to see you. Thank you for being a member. We appreciate you. I love this. May I please have a card for the shadows I need to work on? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, Jenna Perkins. I think it's a professional thing. And I think it may be some inner voices that tell you that you can't achieve what you want to achieve. Could be imposter syndrome. Could be hearing voices of doubt and skepticism as truth when they're not. But one way or the other, I think the shadow you need to work on is the shadow that tells you you can't do this, when in fact you clearly can. And Caroline McLaughlin, so good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. What shadows do I need to be aware of? Ooh, Caroline. I think sometimes you have a tendency not to process the depth of your feeling, and instead of feeling, to act, to do, to act. Not that acting and doing is bad, but I think sometimes you move in order to not be still, because if you're still, you'll have to process the depths of your feelings, and that's hard. Let me know what you think about that. Oh, suspicious username. Thanks for this feedback. Makes sense. I've always been trying so hard to achieve normal, but didn't realize I was aiming at perfect, and there's no such thing. Makes it hard to be emotionally present since I was nitpicking. That makes so much sense. Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. It does make sense. Okay. Mixuer. You are up next. Thank you for being a member. What dark truth am I not seeing that needs to be addressed? How can I best process this and move forward in a productive way? I think the dark truth, and I know you know this, but it's hard to really think about and process, is that no one is fully good or fully bad. That people that we don't like and we don't like what they do good things too. And people that we love and we appreciate them, they do bad things too. And so there's something here about living in that gray area nuance that is really, really hard. And, excuse me, I think for you, there can be a desire to be so clean and so correct. And it comes from a really good place in your heart. But I think it makes it hard. And I'm not saying give up your values, but I am saying it is time to make peace with the shadow that exists everywhere. And I think you're a person who really wants to have a big old MO flashlight. MO. I meant to say mofo. A big old mofo flashlight to shine a light on that shadow, because that's who you are too. You're a truth teller. And so that's what I see there. Let me know what you think. All right. Let's hop back on over to Instagram, where we have Jojo G. Jojo G, what shadow work do I need to focus on right now? I think it's about recognizing the ways in your childhood that you weren't supported, the ways that you wish you had been, and what that developed for you. And I think if you can figure that out, it will be a key to something really important. Okay, Anna, thanks for this feedback. I will have to reflect on what you said. Right now, I'm just aware of the losses I've had. I feel like I've lost my roots. So, Anna, what I'm going to say about that is, like, that's part of the problem. And I'm not, in any way trying to gloss over the grief. But I am saying that under the grief, there is mythology that is harmful, and that it's important for you to do the root chakra work to grow your own roots. That's what's really necessary here. Absolutely. And while we're over here, Panini Kalua. May I please have a reading about what shadow work I need to do? Well, you've been doing it. You have been actively doing it. I almost feel like you need aftercare from doing this, because it is about healing from healing. It's and again, it goes back to the difference between what is the internal shadow that will never change and what is the shadow that comes from trauma. And you've been really working on healing the trauma. And that, I think, is evident and clear. And I think you need to just keep doing that, but also take really kind, good care of yourself in all of this. All right. Here we go. Smile Soul 20 over on YouTube. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a moderator. Ooh, did y'all see that? No, you didn't. I'm shuffling and I literally had a jumper, just like, I don't even know where it is. And I'm afraid to roll my chair because I don't want to roll over the card. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yeah. There it is. All right. And it landed face up. So I have to believe this is your card, Smile Soul 20. And it was like jumping out to come see you. And I think for you, it's about reciprocity. The idea that if you do something for someone, we expect them to kind of be reciprocal, right? And when people are not reciprocal, what do you do about that? I feel like maybe you've had people in your life who just take and take and take, and you give and give and give. And there's something in you that is waiting for the reciprocity. And I think some of your shadow work is about not being so patient in that regard and learning that if the reciprocity isn't there, you need to move on. If that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. All right. Barbie Bird, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member, and thanks for using members only emojis. We appreciate you. I'd love a reading on my shadow sides. What are they? How can I work with them? Collective versus personal. Okay. For you, I think a lot of your shadow side, I think the trauma-related shadow side is around imposter syndrome, not believing in yourself, that kind of thing. I think the more innate shadow side is there is some part of you, and my shadow side will join you in this, that would really just like to say F it to everything and just be sitting in a hammock on some tropical island drinking margaritas and eating bonbons. And that would be enough for a very long time. And I have that too. And so I think that's a shadow self we just need to laugh about and indulge once in a while, if you know what I mean. But also, we cannot shame ourselves for wishing for a softer life, if that makes sense. Let me know what you think. Okay. Suzanne, over on Facebook. I would love to know some of the work I need to do. Many changes for me, and I'm looking for my life partner. The work you need to do is deciding what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. What works for you and what doesn't, and being comfortable with that. Like, if I don't like this, does that make me bad? No, I mean, your likes and dislikes are yours. And so I think it's moving away from self-judgment and more towards self-observation for you. If that makes sense. Let me know if it makes sense. All right. Let's see. Barbie Bird says definitely, ha 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 ha, and yup. So I'll join you on that island one day. That's so funny. Hey, Mrs. O, good to see you over on Instagram. Let me know if you got a question. We're talking about the shadow, the Jungian shadow. Vaishali, so good to see you. You're up next. Cards on this topic. Yes, indeed. So, again, when we look at the shadow, there's like that inherent shadow, which is the stuff that's going to be part of our personality. There's the trauma response. And then there can also be like the like mental health issues come in as well. I think not as shadow, but as something else. But I think for you, Vaishali, a lot of your shadow comes from whether it is mental health, trauma, or just the shadow. I feel like it comes from you believing things should be a certain way, but they're really not that way. And so if things are not the certain way that you want them to be, you don't know what to do with them. And it may be believing that you should be a certain way and you're not that way. So I feel like there's a lot here about letting go of the beliefs of how things should be and just accepting yourself and others and everything as they are. That might be the thing. Oh, baby cakes. You picked that one up. I love it. I need to move from self-judgment to self-observation. I'm writing it down. Suzanne says, makes sense. How much to be okay with is the key. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Teresa, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member and a moderator, Teresa. We appreciate you. Can you please shine a light on my shadow? I do like shadow work. Please unveil what is hidden and hindering growth. Here we go. I don't think, Teresa, there is much here that's hidden because you've already done a lot of work. I think it's more what is yet unhealed. And that takes time. So I think the question for you, Teresa, really is what can you do to foster more healing? I don't know, stay away from your mother? I'm sorry, that was so rude. But do I lie? There is something here, or maybe that's just internally, like the things that you have learned from your family, from relationships that make you the bad one, that make you the one who is responsible, that make you the one who has no self-determination. You're healing from all of that. And so when those thoughts and feelings come up, you have to identify them for what they are. Don't shame yourself for having them, but identify them and tell them to go bye-bye now. Yeah, I think that's the work you've been doing. All right, over on Instagram, Mrs. O. Okay. My question would be, what is holding me back? What is holding me back? I think you've been trying not to acknowledge your emotions and feelings because you have almost shame around some things that you feel, or shame for having big feelings. And I think the more that you could actually dive into those feelings and acknowledge them, the more you would move forward. So it feels counterintuitive to you, but that's what I think it is. Let me know what you think. Teresa, not rude at all. It's so true. Okay. And Barbie, I know too many people have had to cut off their mothers to heal. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Spunky Funky Me, so good to see you on Instagram. Let me know if you have a question. We're talking about the shadow today. Okay, TJ in GA, so good to see you. I love the way you worded this question, TJ. This is perfect. Can you shed some light on the dark within me? How sweet. Okay, I'm looking for okay, let's find the dark within TJ. And we get this sweet, lovely card. But here's the dark. Here's the dark. You're a person of good intentions, TJ. You are absolutely a good-hearted person. There's no question. But I think you can also be a person who doesn't know what to do with that. I think you're a person who has so many good ideas, good thoughts, good feelings, but you have a hard time with initiation. Why do you have a hard time with initiation? I think it's a confidence issue. I do. I think sometimes you will talk yourself out of something before you even do it because you're not confident. So that's what I think. Okay, and over on Instagram, Spunky Funky Me. What do I really need to work on? From when I look at my shadow self, what do I need to really work on? And I think the answer is taking yourself seriously. I mean, I think you have a good sense of humor. I think you're a very fun person, but I also think you're a smart, capable person. And I think sometimes you diminish that because it makes you anxious. I think your capabilities make you anxious. And that's an interesting thing. I wonder if there were people who did not want you to be as smart as you are. I wonder if there are people who did not want you to be loud. And so maybe you make yourself small when you don't need to. All right. Imy, you're up next. Good to see you. Okay, so you're looking at romantic relations. And you're wondering when you're going to marry. And I recognize, especially knowing your history, this actually does fit in with the context of our conversation today. And the thing is, I feel like if you marry just to marry, you're going to marry the wrong person. I feel like the real thing for you to do is to learn how to live in the world. You have an opportunity to grow and learn how to manage your own energy and manage yourself and meet someone that you really love, that you can make a life with. You're looking right now to meet someone so you can escape the life you now have. I tell you, this will never work. Okay. Divyan Shamrisha, good to see you. Looking at shadow work for you, it's funny how often these two cards are coming up together. I feel like it's about self-determination. I think there's a part of you that sort of waits for others, whether it's other people or deities, whether mundane or spiritual, to move things around for you, to make things happen for you. And it's important for you to recognize you have the ability to make things happen as well. Karina Morrison, good to see you. Thank you for being a member. May I have a card on this? It's a big topic. It is a big topic. It absolutely is. And, I know some of the worlds that you're in. I mean, I don't know them personally, but I know what they are. And I know they have some shadowy sides as well. But I feel like you have been sort of swimming in the shadow of some career stuff, where these career communities have some big shadows and it's hard to deal with. And I think that has sort of bumped into your own personal shadow, Karina. And I think your personal shadow, a lot of it is about wanting to see accountability. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. We all want that. But there's something about wanting to see accountability and getting focused on that rather than the things you can control in your own life. And so something here about focusing on what you can control and doing the best you can to bring accountability where accountability is needed, but putting more focus on where you have more power. All right. Liz Harrison, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member, and thanks for using members-only emojis. May I get cards on what shadows I've been resisting to address, but would be in my best interest to look at and work through? I love the way you worded that. That's perfect. Okay, here we go, Liz. Well, the thing is, Liz, like this is such a topic for you because you have done some heavy family and organizational shadow work. But in all of that, I think you've been holding space for certain family members who have begrudgingly accepted your process, but have not been willing to do that process themselves. And you've been holding space for them, sort of loving them and interacting with them and hoping that they will eventually. And I think you have to kind of come to a space of, well, what if they don't? What if they go to their graves never really seeing what I want them to see? And how does that affect you? And what do you do with that? I think you have done everything you can do to be a light shiner. But if other people can't see it, they can't see it, or they can, they don't want to. And how do you react to that? How do you react to people not being willing ever to see what you have had to face? That it's somewhere in there, I think, if that makes sense. Oh, TJ, thanks for this feedback. Lack of confidence is there and has been coming up in readings I do for myself. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, and Vaishali, thank you so much. You explained my situation very correctly. Understood. Got it. Got it. Okay, Astro Ascension. Hope you're doing really well. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Okay, this is for Astro Ascension. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Here's something I see, Astro Ascension. Let me know what you think about this. I feel like you are a haver of really wonderful ideas. You're very good at learning and you're very good at thinking outside the box. I also think you're very good at working hard to do what you need to do. Where I think you trip up is finding the logical way to get from A to B to C. I feel like in your mind, you want to go from A to Z real quick because you have all of these great ideas. And so I think your shadow self likes to skip the building steps and to kind of go back and do those things may be something that you sometimes miss. Let me know what you think. All right. Shraddha K, good to see you. Thanks for being here. What's alignment is happening that I can't see yet? Okay. I think there's a lot here about the hard work that you have been doing and that you need to do. And I think it's about recognizing that the hard work that you do will lead you somewhere. And I think sometimes what you can't see is the potential for future success. Oh, Liz Harrison, thank you for this feedback. Wow, makes perfect sense and exactly what I needed to know. Much appreciated and understood, so helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Wendy Robeson, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member and thanks for being a moderator. We appreciate you. I love this topic. Another great newsletter. What shadows do I need to address? Okay, I'm going to see if I can put this into words. Like, you know the stuff. Like, you know what the stuff is. The thing is, when it comes up in life, you don't know that that's what it is. For example, suppose you were allergic to cows, that you were never to interact with cows. And so someone would come and say, I have something to show you. It's big and it's black and white. And you're going to say, it's not a cow though. And they're going to say, no, it's not a cow. And you're going to freaking believe them when it's a cow. That was a weird analogy. Did it make sense? Let me know. You're here. Let me know. I'll come back and add enlightenment to that if you need me to, but let me know what you think. Okay. And okay, hang on one second. Okay. GM Marcus, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. I think I need to integrate my shadow to have more balance and greater strength, to be whom I am meant to be. I mean, technically, we all do. Technically, we all do. And for you, GM Marcus, like, there's definitely some childhood trauma, and I feel like you are definitely living a very, very different life than what you were raised to live. And I think there may be some shadowy stuff going on up in there. Let me know what you think. Okay, Baby Cakes, good to see you. May I please have a reading on this topic? What shadows do I need to recognize and need to work on? Thank you for being here for us today. Well, it is my great pleasure. Thank you for being here. Okay, baby cakes. What shadows do I need to recognize and work on? The fact that you're overly patient with people who don't deserve your patience. Sorry. But because then you're resentful. So you're patient when you don't want to be patient. Then you're resentful. When in fact, you could just say, yeah, no, not even playing here. Let me know what you think. I think the shadow is the thing that makes you believe you can't just say, yeah, no. Oh, GM Marcus says, true, thank you. And Wendy says, no, I totally get it. OMG, so true. But does this mean I need to take the blinders off? It means that when there's a cow coming, you need to know it's a cow. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, you need to know what you know. Yeah. Okay. DH, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Oh, I love the way you worded this. What parts of my shadow are coming forward to be integrated now? All of them. I mean, we know, like we've been waiting for this card to come up, right? Like we know this is the designated card for shadow work of the 78. And you are the first and only person to get it today, DH. But I also know, I mean, I don't know you that well, but I do know that you do some deep spiritual work. And I feel like you are doing some like grand, major healing work right now for yourself. So let me go deeper. And I wonder, you know, the other take that I have with this card, I think, DH, I wonder if there's been any experience for you with a family member or someone you care about who has had issues with addiction. And if addiction has created problems around you and whatever shadows that came from that, I think that specifically would be a thing to be working with right now. Beyond that, DH, I think there are ways that you do not recognize how worthy you are of love. And I think it's important for you to really, like, so much that it feels like saccharine, like you really need to love yourself so much. Well, Holly Dolby, so nice to see you on Instagram. I hope you're doing super well. Haven't seen you in a long time. We're talking about the shadow today. Let me know if you have questions. GM Marcus, maybe shadow is there because sometimes you need to be the a-hole to survive and even thrive sometimes. So I would say the shadow is the thing that keeps us from doing that. Because when you're being the a-hole to survive, you're not being an a-hole at all. You're being a good person. It is the shadow that teaches us that we have to shut up and take it. So I'm going to put it at like a 180 on that, GM Marcus. Because other people will think we're being an a-hole. But when we're standing up for ourselves and doing what we need to do and saying goodbye to people, they may think we're the a-hole, but we need to know in our own hearts that we're doing the most loving thing we can. In my opinion, let me know what you think. Okay, and Baby Cake says, very true. Okay. All right. So I think we're on last call, which means, Holly, if you've got a question, hit me and anybody else. It is, at this moment, last call for readings. So I do want to let you know, I've got some openings even today. There's a link to book right in the description. Reach out and schedule your appointment for today or later this week. You can also schedule a mentorship session with me where we can use CardCam and really work with the cards. Oh, GM Marcus, thanks for that feedback. Yes, thank you. See, this is why I come here. Thank you so much. Not that like I'm the arbiter of who or what is an a-hole, but I do think that like when we were little, like we were taught to be nice before we were taught to protect ourselves. I think a lot of us were. So, yeah, there all of that is. All right. My friends, I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, with your 3-card weekly reading. I'll hope to see you there. I appreciate all of you so very much. Thank you to the members, the moderators, new followers. I appreciate all of you. And again, reach out for a session. And I will look forward to seeing you really soon. Take care.